In the Marvel Universe, how powerful is the dark hero Venom? Eddie was clearly hit by a car and died, but the very next second, his broken leg healed in a miracle, and the wounds on his body closed at a speed visible to the naked eye. This was Venom's first transformation. Venom is a living alien symbiote with its own mind. After Peter tore it off his body, it quickly found a new host, Eddie, the enemy of Spider-Man. Later, when the story was made into a movie, this dark character turned into a superhero full of justice. Eddie used to be a fearless reporter who exposed evil companies, but when he interviewed the head of the Life Foundation, he did not follow the planned questions. As a result, he was fired from his job, and his girlfriend also lost her job because of him. The two had a huge fight and broke up. After losing both his career and love, Eddie became a useless middle-aged man. Then one day, a strange woman came to him. She said she was a scientist from the Life Foundation and urgently needed his help. A few days earlier, the Foundation's director, Drake, had launched a rocket that brought back some alien life forms. If these creatures could bond with human bodies, humans would gain terrifying power. But these symbiotes had very strict requirements for their hosts. If the match was not right, the symbiote would eat the host's internal organs and cause instant death. After many failed experiments, the female scientist could not accept such cruel human testing anymore. So she asked Eddie for help and begged him to stop Drake's actions. At first, Eddie refused. But after learning that his ex-girlfriend had a new boyfriend, he began to think, maybe this news story could help him rise again. So he called the woman and decided to take the risk. With the woman's help, Eddie secretly entered the laboratory and took photos as evidence of the cruel human experiments. But at that moment, one of the test subjects suddenly started hitting the glass door like crazy. Eddie recognized her. She was the homeless woman who lived downstairs from him. In his panic to save her, Eddie completely forgot the scientist's warning not to touch anything inside. When the glass broke, the woman suddenly jumped on him. During the struggle, the symbiote entered Eddie's body and merged with him. The woman immediately fainted. Eddie did not understand what had happened and only focused on escaping from the lab. While running away, he slowly realized that his body was out of control. He had incredible strength and amazing agility. When security guards surrounded him, he jumped high into the air and climbed to the top of a tree, successfully escaping. After he returned home, the side effects of being possessed by Venom truly began. He felt extremely hungry, almost starving. He even pulled fried chicken out of the trash and ate it quickly. When he came to his senses, he rushed to brush his teeth. But when he looked into the mirror, he saw a completely different face. Eddie was so scared that he almost fainted. He walked weakly out of the bathroom and saw his apartment in a complete mess. He did not know what had happened. He only remembered the evidence he had taken in the lab. He quickly went to find his ex-girlfriend to tell her everything. But before he could explain clearly, his body again went out of control and started grabbing food like crazy. Then he took off his coat, got into a water tank, and began eating a Boston lobster raw. His ex-girlfriend thought he had a serious illness and took him to the hospital for an MRI scan. But the scan forced Venom's true form to appear. After all this chaos, Eddie returned home, hoping to rest. But loud music from his neighbor made him extremely angry. Eddie, who was usually timid and avoided trouble, finally lost his patience and knocked hard on his neighbor's door. Her ears finally became quiet, but the trouble was not over. A voice warned Eddie not to open the door. She thought it was just a hallucination after her illness. But as soon as she opened the door, several men in black rushed inside. They threatened her and demanded that she hand over the symbiote. When Eddie saw that they had guns, she quickly raised both hands to surrender. Suddenly, everything changed. When the men attacked her, Venom took control of her body. Black tentacles came out and fought back. In just a few moves, all the men in black were knocked down to the ground. Eddie looked at her hands in shock. A black liquid, like thick noodles, was moving in her palm. Before she could understand what was happening, Venom pulled her aside and helped her dodge the bullets. Her reactions became extremely fast, and her movements were very sharp. Every attack she made could be deadly for a normal person. Luckily, Eddie did not lose her consciousness. She did not want to kill anyone, so she quickly ran out of the apartment and jumped on her motorcycle, speeding away in a life and death chase. With Venom's help, she escaped danger again and again, leaving the men behind. But just when she felt relieved for surviving, a car suddenly hit her and threw her to the ground. She could not move. As the men in black were about to take her away, a black tentacle suddenly grabbed one of them. At that moment, Eddie's broken leg and all the small and big wounds on her body began began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Venom's final and terrifying form fully appeared in front of everyone. Venom stretched out his long tongue and licked the man's face, leaving sticky slime behind. Then he bit off the man's head in one bite. As more and more police officers arrived, Venom decided not to continue fighting and jumped straight into the lake. After returning to her normal form, Eddie was still confused about what had happened. Then, a black, unknown substance slowly gathered together and formed a shape in front of her. This was the first official meeting between Eddie and Venom. Venom told Eddie that his goal was to find a host, then use a rocket to return to his own planet and bring his kind back to take over Earth. Besides Venom, there was another life form called Riot. After moving through several hosts, Riot finally bonded with Drake. After learning this, Eddie went to the media company where she used to work and asked them to expose the evil truth of the Foundation. But the security guard refused to let her enter. When Eddie did not know what to do, Venom spoke. Eddie transformed into Venom, climbed up the building, and easily broke the strong glass to enter the office. She left a note and placed the evidence on the table. Venom suggested jumping down from the top, but Eddie refused and took the elevator to the first floor. There, she ran into police officers who had surrounded the building. The police immediately attacked Venom. However, normal physical weapons could not hurt him at all. Even though the police had a clear advantage in numbers, they were helpless against Venom. He lifted them high into the air, as if they were just insects, ready to become his dinner. This scene was just seen by his girlfriend, who rushed in. Eddie had no choice but to return to his true form. He ran after her and explained everything in detail, finally clearing her doubts. She took him to the hospital, preparing for another MRI scan. Venom strongly resisted and grabbed the doctor, trying to swallow him. At the critical moment, the girlfriend activated the MRI, and the high-frequency waves forced Venom to separate from Eddie's body. Seeing Venom stuck on the glass, Eddie felt thrilled and angrily left the hospital. But just as he reached the elevator, a group of black-clad men knocked him down. Realizing the host was in danger, Venom escaped through the ventilation shaft. First, he possessed a small dog, and then transferred into the girlfriend's body, finally saving Eddie in the form of female Venom. Then Venom smoothly returned to Eddie's body. Originally, Venom's goal was to destroy Earth, but now he had changed his mind. On their own planet, Venom was not very powerful, but on Earth, he realized he felt almost like a god, especially after taking control of Eddie. However, another symbiote from his species, Riot, had a different plan. Riot instructed his host, Drake, to launch a rocket early to bring reinforcements from his planet. Venom intercepted Riot just as the rocket was about to launch. Their conversation quickly turned into a fight. Riot's one hand transformed into a meteor hammer and the other into a scythe, and he attacked Venom fiercely. Facing Venom, the traitor, Riot showed no mercy. He grabbed Venom and struck him repeatedly. Venom defended with one hand turned into a shield, while the other extended as a tendril to attack, slamming Riot to the ground and grinding him hard. During the intense struggle, Venom was injured by Riot's spikes. Riot took the opportunity to grab a nearby steel pipe and hit Venom hard, launching him away. He stomped on Venom's back, forcibly separating him from Eddie. Just as Riot was about to consume Venom, Eddie decisively charged and merged with Venom again. Now there were two hosts, and two Venoms fighting together fiercely. But Riot's power was too strong, and he absorbed Venom directly into himself. At that moment, the girlfriend activated the high-frequency waves. Riot instantly screamed in pain. Venom took the chance to separate from Riot's body, and both hosts fell heavily to the ground. Eddie saw the right moment and punched Drake hard, knocking him down. But unexpectedly, Riot possessed Drake at the last moment, striking Eddie fatally. Riot then opened the rocket door and entered it. In less than a minute, he could leave Earth. Venom crawled out from the manhole and possessed Eddie's body. Eddie, who had stopped breathing, was instantly healed by Venom. He pulled out the large blade from his chest and leapt toward the rocket, saying his final goodbye to Riot. Venom then jumped onto the rocket and slashed its outer shell with his blade, cutting a huge gash. This triggered the rocket to explode. Riot and Drake were burned alive, but the massive shockwave also scorched Venom's body, forcing him to separate from Eddie. Venom sacrificed his body to save Eddie's life. But did Venom really die? Of course not. At the end of the story, Eddie went to the downstairs supermarket to buy snacks as usual. By chance, a robber appeared. Suddenly, a long tendril controlled the robber, and Venom slowly advanced toward him.